who is they? Who is they? Who is they? Who is they? This is really irritating habit that these soft online troll types, smart asses, pseudo-intellectuals have gotten into, where they think that they can dismantle any argument that anybody has that leads towards saying, hey, there seems to be some kind of a conspiracy here, by just saying, who is they? Who is they? Who is they? Are you an idiot? Where there is evidence that there is a concentrated effort to fulfill a certain agenda, there is a they. I don't know who they are. I don't need to know who they are for my argumentation that there is an agenda to hold water. Stop asking me that question. Stop asking other people that question. Like, oh, that just tears everything down. Because you can't say who they is, therefore there's no they. There is a they. There is clearly a deliberate, concentrated, long-term agenda to fulfill certain objectives. And one of the objectives that they're trying to fulfill right now is to make everybody soft, everybody woolly-minded, everybody super sentimental. Sentimentality, I think, is one of the poisons of this age. Our sentimentality. That's not compassion, by the way. That's not empathy. Don't get the two things confused, because they're not the same. Sentimentality is childish, it's self-indulgent, and whilst it seems to be about compassion, which is truly for the fulfillment of the good intent of all, sentimentality is actually about me. Because for me, it just feels good when I'm being this way. You've got to try and eradicate these kinds of, because you would think, oh, that's harmless. That's completely harmless. Being sentimental and being gentle, that's a harmless thing. No, these little coordinates that are being slowly eroded over time have a huge and awful social impact. Make people sentimental, make them entitled, reduce their resilience, increase their subjective emotionality, decrease their ability to think critically. What do you have? Oh, wow, what a frigging coincidence. You just so happen to have a whole nation of people way more easy to control, way more easy to manipulate. Who is they? Who is they? Who is they? I don't know. I don't know. I can say that there's an agenda being played out, and I can tell you what the agenda is, and we can reverse engineer what the objectives are by what we see. So here's what I used to say I still say it to people who are the victims of narcissistic abuse. Post-narcissistic abuse, they would say to me, I feel this, this, and this. Why do I feel this way? And I was like, you know what I find to be a useful assumption is whatever it is you're feeling post-narcissistic abuse, that's what the narcissist wants you to feel. Your emotions are being provoked over a period of time. So now, when I look around and I see people stuck in their cupcaking, subjective, sugar sweet, asinine little reality tunnels where everything's so cute and it's fuzzy wuzzy, I'm thinking, okay, this is what they wanted. I just assume that that's what people want. Can we have a conversation? No, we can't, because if you dare to actually have a conversation that is authentic and that goes outside of the prescripted narrative, people will rain down blows upon you from on high. Now, we're so propagandized that when people see an authentic conversation take place, they become enraged. They become not angry, not irritated, enraged. Emotional violence if you're speaking freely. So we're all monkeys down from the trees not that long ago, and we're in our little pack. And what happens is you see another monkey do something they're not supposed to do, and you get over there. This is what they do. This is what chimps do. They'll smash each other and they'll bite each other. They'll bite each other on the ears. They have a really, really strong bite. They'll bite each other on the face. If they're really mad, they'll bite you on your parts. That's nasty. Psychologically, we do the same thing. If you see another monkey in your troop doing something it's not supposed to do, we attack. We go for it. And now the thing that we're not supposed to do that you can get attacked for, think and speak freely and have simple, civil discourse. You're not allowed to attend a conversation without having a side. Well, what side are you on? Well, I haven't made my mind up yet. Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! He didn't make his mind up before starting the conversation. Burn the witch. What the hell's wrong with you? Pick a side, son. I don't want to fucking pick a side. I want to think. I want to have a chat. I want to talk. I want to chill. I want to sit. I want to roll it around in my head. Maybe there isn't a side that matches what I think and what I feel. Do you ever think about that? But maybe there isn't a team that actually suits everything that you want. Is that allowed? No. That is verboten. Now, in the new ideological war that we're in, that specifically, completely verboten. I'm just going to go over the points that I went through in the original video, and then we'll do a Q&A on it. I'll calm down a little bit. Gently now. You know, it kind of winds me up. It really, really winds me up. I grew up in an environment with a lot of bullying, and a lot of bullying, a lot of coercion, a lot of mind control. So not just your words would be coerced, but your feelings. There's like certain things you're not supposed to feel. I watched a Theremin Trees video today, and he's coined the phrase, I think it's so we all know thought crime from 1984. His one was, I can't remember it, you have to go and look it up. It's either feel crime or emotion crime, where you're actually feeling a feeling that you're not supposed to feel. And that bothers me. I don't like to see that. I don't like seeing people get exploited, and I don't like seeing people in this weird, hunched, guilt-ridden, weak smile. I'm just going to keep spouting the bullshit that everybody tells me I'm supposed to spout. I'm going to carry on. I'm like, how am I supposed to life coach you from there? Or I'm going to teach you techniques to help you cope with that? No. I'm not going to fucking teach you techniques to help you cope with that. I'm going to say, don't do that anymore. Break out. Claim your freedom. That's not a life. Being emotionally and psychologically imprisoned is not a life. I'm getting worked up again. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. The first thing I advised you to do was to be willing to be unlikable. Being liked is not the best thing in the world. Anybody who implies or tells you, or anything, any corporation that tells you that the most important thing in life is to be liked, is trying to enslave you. You can tell them from me to go fuck themselves. Be less lamb. You're not a sacrificial lamb. You're not a scapegoat. You're not here to bear the sins of others. Be more wolf. Be willing to be savage in the defense of your own values. Number 2, how many fingers are there, Winston? It's my thumb, okay? My thumb is up. Number 2 is engage in negative thinking. So identify the things in life that you hate, say that you hate them, and then stay the hell away from them. You have the right to judge, you have the right to criticize, and you have the right to condemn. You have the duty to judge, to criticize, and condemn. Because if you fail to, you're taking away your teeth and your claws. Your ability to say, hey, that person is a horrible, nasty, fucking idiot. So if you can't say that about that person, you're massively disempowered, because you have to edit what they're doing. If all you're allowed to do is go, well, we're all just children of the stars, and they experience trauma in childhood, and they have a complex sounding disorder that, very clever people. No, fuck that. The guy's a piece of shit. The girl's a piece of shit. That's it. Simple, real, true, present. There's something you can do about it right now for yourself, which is you just go, that person is a shitty, shitty human being. Clunk. I don't want anything to do with them. I said it's okay to proceed with half of an idea. The reason why it's okay to proceed with half an idea and to just move forward is because if you have half an idea, you have 50% more of an idea than the other shaved apes around you. We're all just entities in socks, me, you, everybody. If you have half an idea for something, proceed. You have the right. I grant you the right. Go proceed with your half of an idea, because everybody else around you has zero idea. Not less of an idea, zero. So go ahead and work with that half of an idea. And remember that vulnerability, fragility, incompetence is the baseline state of humanity, from the person at the garage to the woman you passed on the street before, to the corporation. It's riddled with human corruption from top to bottom. Drug addictions, affairs, mental health issues, crimes, drunk driving, hit and runs, murders, everything. That's the baseline state. They're not better than you because they're bigger than you. They don't know more than you. All they know more is that the decisive action trumps precise planning. Military leaders figured that out probably millennia ago. So do hold yourself accountable, and do be really brutally honest with yourself. And when you're proceeding with half an idea, make sure that you're embracing a philosophy of competition and of responsibility. So you're accountable for you. And take that extreme ownership policy. Jocko Willink wrote a book called Extreme Ownership. He's an ex-Navy SEAL commander. And he said, whatever happens in your team, if you're in charge, it's you. Doesn't matter if you had nothing to do with it, it's you, it's on you. Whatever, if it's a good philosophical position to adopt, and it kills the victimhood mentality. If you say, look, if it's happening in my life, if it's within my sphere of influence, it's my responsibility. Responsibility, the ability to respond. Might not be my fault, but that's not what's at question most of the time. What's at question is, what can you do and what can you not do? What actions are you willing to take? What actions are you not willing to take? The rest stays inside your head, stays inside your body, never manifests in the world, and is so much ego masturbation and fluff. It's just a waste of life. It's a waste of time. Assume that you're a liar was the fourth thing I said. So when you say, I want to go there, but I can't because X, Y, Z, assume all of this is bullshit. Assume all of these are excuses, and that actually what you're doing is you're inventing an issue to protect you from the challenge of the thing that you want. Because when you want a thing, you don't just have the thing that you want. You have to go through a challenge, like a hero's journey, to get to that thing that you want. And you might be scared of the challenge. You should be scared of the challenge. Why? Because it's going to suck. It's going to hurt. So you've got to be willing to suffer a little bit to get what you want. So the fifth thing I did say, was be tougher. Be tougher. And that can be summed up as be willing to suffer. Be tougher, be willing to suffer. To be willing to be in an uncomfortable state of suffering over time in order to get what you want. And you'll be a much more powerful, much less cupcakey individual. I will now take questions on this subject. Please make them one sentence long and let them end in a question mark. When I do these selfies like this, I can see that my jaw is unaligned, as I got beaten up in a fight once when I was 22, and he broke my jaw and I never got it fixed. So my bite is off. The way that you approach all of this should be with an attitude that you're leaving behind what has gone before. You're ready to cut through the crap. You're just ready to get on with it. It's gonna suck. There'll be moments where it's awkward. There'll be moments that are embarrassing. There'll be moments where you're not inside of your comfort zone, but you just go ahead and do it anyway. The major message that I wanted to get over to you guys here is don't be stuck within this trap of likability. Don't be stuck inside of this trap of like being sweet, being soft. Everybody needs to like me. The world wasn't built by men and women who were like, oh, I didn't get enough likes on my last Facebook. They've just like. What the fuck has like got to do with anything? I'm hungry. Let's build a fucking world here. And they just got on with it from a position of a much more severe mindset than the one we live with now. Does anybody have any questions? Justin, would you say that the presence of emotional flashbacks makes one more susceptible to this agenda? I think that this particular agenda deliberately traumatizes people and induces emotional flashbacks. That's why, for the first period of the Spartan Life Coach project, I was like, oh, childhood trauma, childhood trauma, childhood trauma. And I don't regret that. But now I'm like, what about culture trauma? Like, this is an extremely traumatic period of history to live in, made worse by the fact that we're all fed and we're in warm environments. But it's extremely traumatic because we're being pulled away from each other. That's the real trauma. That's real savagery. To wit, I listened to something yesterday about what children want. And they were saying, well, does a kid want the fancy holiday or the really cool mountain bike? Or do they just want their parents? They just want their parents. And as parents, you can't buy a thing that swaps that out. They want that time with you. They want your attention. They want your approval. And they just want to hang out with you. That's their favorite fucking thing. Because up to a certain age, they don't even understand that mountain bike is better than that mountain bike. They have to learn that perverted, sick object fetishism. Oh, by the way, we are in the month of object fetishism. Santa Claus, Satan gets his claws into you, is all about inducing object fetishism into kids. I remember when I was a child, I found it completely fucking bewildering. I was like, I don't care. I don't care about this stuff. I had to learn to have it have meaning over time. And that, in and of itself, is a traumatic experience. Shay says, would you say cupcakes are made by keeping people stuck feeling things they are then shamed for feeling and thus can't allow and express? I really wish I got the link for Theremin Trees' new video. Go to Theremin Trees' new, God help me. Theremin Trees has a YouTube channel. Go to that channel and see his latest video, and he gives an excellent breakdown of the forced inducement of emotional dysregulation within narcissistic family units, within religious cults, and ultimately what can happen inside of a culture in the relationship between a government and its people. So yes, it is about inducing false feelings in people. This is where he has come with the term emotion crime. Jean Jessup says, so this chat is not for asking questions. It is for asking questions. You just asked one. Is that Zen? You're doing a Zen koan. Busy Mum says, what about fighting back YouTube on their agendas like the stupid banning people for emoji use? Yeah, if that's your particular bag, is to fight YouTube, that's fine. It's not mine. I've used non-servium every day. Can you touch on that? I've using. Yeah, it just means it's just a way of saying no, and that you're not there to serve, and that you have your own individuality, and that you're not gonna be a slave in somebody else's kingdom that you didn't consent to and that you don't assent to. You're not a lamb, you're a wolf. Is this a question, says Extra Dimension? Exactly. Joe says, Richard, my jaw is off center too, got hit with the right hook. Woo, party. So the dude, I was silly. I was a young martial arts guy, and if I got into a fight, the first thing I would do is I let the person hit me a couple of times first, and then I'd go, because I was nuts and I thought I was indestructible. And then this guy, who was a combat instructor for the Greek army, he got hold of me, hit me with 2 headbutts here, and then followed it up with 2 right hooks. And after a couple of seconds, I was like, I definitely need to stop him, because if he keeps doing that, my face is gonna fall off. Did you read The Courage to Be Disliked? I'm 1/4 of a way through it. That's a hard book to read. It's not well written, but it's a really, really good book, and I recommend it. Mandy says, so it's okay that because I don't follow the norm, I'm really not the bad guy. Indeed. Hence the Spartan life coach, says Maria Bekos. It was going to be the samurai life coach, but I was like, oh, it's going to sound really lame and weird. But now people think I teach people how to get through mud races and do kettlebell swings. So I probably will just dissolve the name and just be like Richard Grannon instead, I think. Boar says, I quit coaching people who just want to argue and make excuses to remain stuck. They don't want out. They want another victim or attention. Some had a crush on me, faking problems. I have no patience left for it. So somebody just asked about Adler. What Adler would say is that, and it's kind of, it's a level up from the Freudian model, I think, in terms of actually helping people to move forward, is that the therapeutic process for those people becomes part of the excuse. So they'll go, no, I can't do the thing I really want to do because of X, Y, Z, and then they come to you for coaching or counseling and they go X, Y, Z, and you go X, Y, Z is completely resolvable, and they go no it isn't, and then you get into an argument, and then they leave and they go X, Y, Z is unresolvable. I even went to coaching and even they couldn't resolve it for me. So they're doubling down on the binding of I just can't do it, which is why I think I prefer what I do, which is I give people courses and they'll go, okay, the solutions are there, but you guys have to do it yourselves. And then some do, and some don't, and that's it. Donna says, so different from all the surviving brands. I want to be a Spartan, not a survivor. Yeah, there is that side of it, which makes it fun. It's just that historically the Spartans did some weird and pretty awful things. Like institutionalized child abuse, enslaving people. Craig Hill says, how do I sleep better? I don't know, mate. When I figured it out, I'll let you know. I find that generally getting up earlier, and then if I'm going to do cardio that day, if the cardio goes in that earlier, like within half an hour of waking up, you get like 45 minutes to an hour of low level to moderate cardio done. Then by the time you get to, it's like bedtime at night, you'll go to sleep better. Or I find I go to sleep better and then I sleep for longer, so that can help. GW says, do you suggest that to develop immunity and defense against the narcissist psychopath, the journey involves evolving from prey to predator? No! No, don't be stupid. Don't do anything that is immoral. That is a cupcake question for cupcakes. You choose your moral code. Be more wolf means live according to your ideals. You follow your own path. You do things your way. You start copying them and modeling them. They've molded you. You let them infect you. You're a receptacle for their sickness now. You're their slave. No, you fucking don't do what they tried to teach you to do. Have a backbone and integrity, but not be a predator. Absolutely. You see, actually, that actually is the narcissistic mindset in essence. I've spoken to Sam Vaknin about this at length. Typically when a society becomes narcissistic, a culture becomes narcissistic, it's because they were victimized. So they were the prey, and then their mindset is never again. We'll be the biggest, worstest predators on the block so that can never happen to us again. That is a cupcake response. Alice says, thanks so much for your work, Richard. I've been using your EF's course and Heal the Superego course, feeling so much stronger inside. I actually trust my own judgments. Booted two manipulative friends. Well done. That's exactly the kind of thing that you want to be saying no to. Stefan says, you helped me a lot, man. Greets from Holland. You're very welcome, sir. The title here says that there are cupcakes. I'm here waiting for my cupcake. It was deceptive of me. I lured you in. It's a bait and switch. I said, come here, there's cakes. And then I just shout at you. I don't know why you stand for it. It's frankly abuse. And it's clear to me that Spartacan life coach, Richard Gammon, is a narcissist. Oh my God, I must discipline myself. To do more emotional work. I want to trust my own judgment. Yes, it's good to get that emotional literacy stuff done. Simone says, if they don't like you asking questions or having an opinion, I'm out. Yep. Any techniques for dealing with emotional triggers in the moment? Yes. Thank you for asking, Jessica. I have a course called the Stop Emotional Flashback course on my website. If you go and sign up to the email list on my website, it will be sent to you instantly. And whilst you must do it whilst not in an emotional flashback, it can also help you in the beginning phases of an emotional flashback. My shrink told me I have no empathy for myself. Oh, that's an interesting way of framing it. How do I dig myself out of that one, says Maker Man. Yeah, a lot of us don't. I think like for the fawn responding codependent, if you were raised by parents who are highly narcissistic and selfish and boundary breaking, you would have had, it's not like they're right, he or she is right, that you don't display empathy for yourself, but that's not the root problem. The root problem is that there is no self that you are allowed to acknowledge, so you're not even allowed to acknowledge yourself. So you will not be displaying empathy for yourself, but that's because you're not permitted to say, I'm here, I have value, I have merit, and I am worth defending. How do we challenge a new interest to determine their honesty? It's not really a question that I would help you with. That's not for me. But I'm sure there are other people who would help you, and it doesn't mean it's not a valid question. It's just not a question for me. Any tips for dealing with fear or being rejected, abandoned? Yes, I just gave you 5. Do you have plans for a book? Yes. Nadia says, the context here has been harping on regaining your values. Yes, I have been harping on. Righteous behavior promotes a mentality of righteous bullying. What do you think? I don't know what these keywords mean to you, so I couldn't say. I'd need to explore that with you. I'm not sure what righteous behavior to me would be. Righteous behavior would be nobility, but I think you're talking maybe about self-righteous or posturing behavior, which could indeed have bullying follow right in its tracks. When for the book? It is not known. It is not known, Khaleesi. There's a lot of messages getting deleted here by UG Rose. Thank you, UG Rose, for being a Jedi and shooting down the monkeys that fly. Question. I don't remember dreams. Is that a CPTSD thing? No. It can be that your life has become too rote and too regular, and that you need to push outside of your boundaries to learn something new and embrace new challenges, though. Okie dokie. Yes, UG Rose, you rock. Will you visit Poland? I probably will, yes. There are little kids in the chat. Oh, that's not good. I specifically wrote, because there's new rules on YouTube that say you have to say whether something is for children or not, and I specifically said it is not for children. Any questions for me, guys? Folks, I mean, not guys. Jason Tucker, always nice to hear from a chap. The chaps usually just watch and remain quiet, so please speak up, chaps. I've always had no issue spreading love, but always feel guilty when it's directed back to me. Is there a way to stop feeling that way? That sounds like an emotional flashback. Probably you're raised in an environment where the self was not allowed to be, and if somebody offers you love, it's inducing perhaps a trigger of some toxic shame and guilt. So I would be looking to resolve the emotional flashback and to develop the emotional literacy around that issue. What is the recommended product on your site for kicking CPTSD in the face? Ooh! I recommend the Heal the Superego course. It's tight. It gives you 30 days of work to do. It's not easy. It's a challenging course, but 30 days goes by very quickly, and it should give you a foothold on kicking it in the face. How do I view the childhood neglect I experienced as abuse when there's nothing overt? That's just a belief issue. That's pretty straightforward. You could read books by psychologists and particularly experts in child psychology and trauma, people like Gabor Mate, who would explain to you that to neglect a child is sometimes the worst form of abuse, because by neglecting them, you're teaching them that they have no value at all. Boar says, I think you need a hug, ha ha ha. No, I loathe being hugged by strangers, but thank you for the positive intent. You can just do a creative visualization in which Richie is happy and thriving and strong and wolf-like. If you're stepping out of cupcake mindset, would being silent and walk your own path work? I don't know what that means. I think that has a special meaning for you, but without being able to ask you what that means to you, I really couldn't say. What martial arts do you study? When I was a kid, I went through karate, jiu-jitsu, judo, and then ninjutsu and aikido. Then I switched to Muay Thai, which is what I've spent the most time working on over the years from 18 to now. And MMA, BJJ in my 20s and 30s, you know, boxing, wrestling, anything that could be used in the MMA context, I'd have a look at. Okay. If you're not going to talk about echoism, look, dude, as you can see, there are many comments coming through here. I'm doing my best to keep up with them, but if I don't see yours, it's not a personal slight. It's not because I don't want to read your comment or I don't want to see your question. It's just what you can see on the screen right now is exactly what I can see. It's a bunch of questions and comments coming right through. It's not personal. How do you handle narcissistic people you don't even know who verbally attack in public meetings or settings? You can tell them to fuck off without actually saying the words fuck off with your demeanor and with your intent. And you don't have to go into a bad state in order to do it. You can be polite and firm, and you can even smile as you do it, but you're still letting them know it's not the place to be messing around with you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was 31 minutes and 30 seconds. I hope I delivered some value. Please do let me know in the comments if you think I did. If you liked it, then hit the like button because the YouTube algorithms like that, and then they share it with other humans who might also benefit from it. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention. If you're on Instagram, I'm about to do an Instagram Live, and I will see you there. Cheers.